Tonight, as part of our 360 commitment to giving you all sides of the important issues, we're going to dig deeper into Amendment 74, which would give you the right to sue the government if government decisions affect your property value.
Now, people behind it say it will protect homeowners, but critics warn it could bankrupt some Colorado towns. Tonight, Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski is going 360 to cut through the noise and help you make an informed decision this November.
It's only 11 words, but if passed, Amendment 74 would make Colorado's property rights the most extreme in the country.
These words absolutely matter because no one knows what they mean.
Amendment 74 is all about protecting property rights.
A proposed change to our state constitution, Amendment 74, would force governments to compensate property owners when a law or regulation reduces the fair market value of their property. And that's where this gets complicated. Right now, you can only get compensation from a direct government action when a city takes nearly all of your property value. Think eminent domain cases, when a city bulldozes a home to build a highway. Then and only then do you really get compensation.
If you have to show that up to 90% of your property was taken before you can even start to seek compensation, why are you going to go through that kind of expense?
Chad Vorthman is with the Colorado Farm Bureau, the group that is the face of Amendment 74. But that's not the group doling out the millions to fund it. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's delve into the amendment a bit more. So let's say a city approves a pot shop right across from your house. You get proof from your real estate agent. The government's decision to greenlight that pot shop lowered your property value, even by, say, 10%. Well, now you can take the city to court for what you lost.
Our amendment is meant to address that issue, that if government takes your property, you ought to be compensated.
Supporters argue this is about leveling the playing field and giving property owners equal rights. While the idea might sound good, opponents of Amendment 74 say its passage would be a disaster that would drain taxpayer coffers and potentially destroy communities. The only true beneficiaries, they argue, would be the lawyers involved in the lawsuits.
An adjacent property owner may say very simply, I don't want that development next to me. That's going to reduce the value of my property. And if you approve it, I'll see you in court.
Sam Mamet with the Colorado Municipal League says another big problem with the amendment are those 11 words, which he says are way too broad.
Well, what exactly does fair market value mean? Let alone what does the word reduce mean? This isn't a debate over private property rights. It's a debate over the lack of clarity.
Mamet isn't alone in his opinion. More than 100 elected city leaders are also coming out against Amendment 74, saying things like it throws open the door to frivolous lawsuits, and enacting it would be totally burning the forest down on a very large scale. Mamet sums it up for all of them.
I've been doing this for almost 40 years. It may be the single worst measure I've ever seen on the ballot.
So let's get back to the oil and gas industry and their perspective on this.
We have not taken a position on it.
Dan Haley with the Colorado Oil and Gas Association says his industry is neutral.
Our focus is on 112 and doing all we can to make sure that Coloradans see it for what it is.
But opponents want voters to see Amendment 74 for what it is and argue actions speak louder than words.
We need laws to ensure property rights are protected by the Constitution.
A political group called Protect Colorado has shelled out nearly $3 million for advertising in favor of Amendment 74.
It protects the property rights of all, including yours.
The whole campaign in support of 74 is really being funded by a few select sectors of the oil and gas industry.
That's right. Protect Colorado is funded by the state's largest oil and gas companies.
And they need to come out from behind the curtains.
The oil companies, along with farmers and ranchers, see this as a way to hedge their bet against Prop 112, giving them a way to seek compensation from the state if new regulations, aka new drilling restrictions, are passed, and diminish the value of their land or ability to develop their mineral rights. How much does this have to do with mineral rights and Proposition 112?
This is related, but it's not closely tied. This is about all property.
If it's not tied to oil and gas, why is oil and gas funding all of your advertising?
They're not funding it all. We have a broad group of supporters.
An argument not everyone is buying. Mamet says no matter how you look at it, oil and gas is the real muscle behind this campaign.
It's being funded and paid for by certain oil and gas companies that have some scores to settle with some local governments they feel have overreached in their regulations relative to oil and gas. And I think using the Constitution as their private playground is really wrong.
As the debate rages on this election, one thing is clear. If Tabor has taught us anything, changing the state constitution is a move that's hard to undo.
You put something in the Constitution, it's rare to have something removed, especially this fundamental.
A complex ballot box fight that will require a yes vote from 55% of Colorado voters to change our state's most important document. In Denver, Jennifer Kowaleski, Denver 7.